Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Greek, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator at VAI. Welcome to our third Tips and Tricks webinar, where VAI presents Maximize Earnings and Control Cash Flow. Today's businesses run on finance, and successful financial management is essential for organizations to succeed. Businesses can manage their assets, income, and expenses with the S2K Financial Management Suite to maximize earnings and control cash flow. In this special financial webinar, we will review tips and tricks and best practices and the steps you can take to improve your company's financial management. Presenting today from VAI is ERP accounting trainer Leanne Wirtz and VAI's Executive Vice President Joe Ciacia. And with that, please join me in welcoming Leanne.
Thanks, Kristen. As Kristen stated, in today's webinar, we will discuss tips and tricks to maximize earnings and control cash flow using AR and AP Manager inquiries, our new positive pay feature in food, as well as credit card processing, which Joe will touch on at the end of the presentation. The first up is the AP Manager. The AP Manager is located in Accounts Payable, Inquiry, AP Manager. Within AP Manager, you can manage accruals, view AP aging at a company and vendor level, view invoice discrepancies, and enter PO price verification invoices. The AP Manager provides users with a one-stop shop into the Accounts Payable Inquiry system within the convenience of a single window. Functionality available in this AP Manager is based on user default settings that were established in the cross-application user defaults interface via the AP Manager. Based on authority set up in the user defaults, this dynamic function allows users to perform purchase price verification, purchase order inquiry, vendor file maintenance, voucher inquiry, to view open purchase orders and receipts, view global agings, view accrued payables, and review invoice discrepancies created through price verification. Enter selection criteria in the fields at the top portion of the screen to assist in limiting the information displayed below. Information on the bottom portion of the window changes depending on the program button selected. The default AP Manager vendor display will list the vendor detail information for the vendors selected. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a pie chart that will display the aging information for the selection. Clicking on the pie chart will display the pie chart of the aging for the displayed vendors. Clicking or hovering over the graph will display the data related to the area of that graph. Next, we will look at the Global Aging folder tab. Clicking on the Global Aging folder tab displays the AP Manager Global Aging window, providing open account balances for all vendors based upon the selection criteria entered on the top portion of this window. Selecting the graph button located at the top or the bottom of the Global Aging screen will display a pie chart representation of the aging of the selected data displayed on the bottom of the screen. Here. Clicking on the chart will display the pie chart of the aging for the displayed vendors. Clicking or hovering over the graph will display the data related to that area of the graph. If we select one vendor, the bottom portion of the Global Aging tab will filter to the selected vendor, displaying only the information related to that specific vendor. The graphs related to the aging will also update. If we hover or click over a portion of the graph, the dollar amount related to that portion of the graph will display. Returning to the Global Aging screen, users also have the ability to toggle between domestic and foreign currency, drill into a vendor, voucher or PO inquiry, receipt history, and into vendor maintenance using the buttons in the middle of the screen. Next, we will look at the Accrual folder tab. This tab will display all open accruals for receipts that have not been processed through purchase price verification for each vendor displayed. Accruals which are currently in the voucher process will be highlighted in magenta, As product is received, the accrued payables account is credited. This window shows the total amount that is currently in the accrued payables account. While in the accrual screen, users have the ability to drill into vendor and voucher inquiry, vendor maintenance, PO inquiry, vendor file maintenance, accrual inquiry, PO price verification, invoice discrepancy, and vendor returns. To enter an invoice within the AP Manager screen, highlight the line of the accrual and use the select or deselect button. This will highlight the line in yellow. Selecting the PO verification button will display the PO price verification window for that line. So right here. The PO price verification window allows a user to enter an invoice for the PO or receipt selected. Enter the invoice number, date, and amount, and select the forward arrow. Selecting the forward arrow will display the invoice entry update screen for the selected line. Next, we will look at invoice discrepancy window. The invoice discrepancy window displays all invoices with discrepancies due to a variance that have been put on hold. Values will display in the currency that has been established for the vendor in the vendor master file. Users can toggle between foreign and domestic currency using the FC button. Users have the ability to drill into PO inquiry, receipt history, vendor inquiry, voucher inquiry, vendor maintenance, and to see any notes related to this invoice using the buttons in the middle of the screen. This allows users to investigate why an invoice has been put on hold. Once a discrepancy has been investigated, users can release the invoice from hold by using the PO invoice verification button. In the invoice entry update screen, users will hit the forward arrow until they get to the invoice totals summary screen. While in the invoice summary screen, a user can release the invoice to eligible for payment status by changing the status to eligible and unchecking the place on hold box. Next, we will look at the AR Manager. AR Manager is located under Accounts Receivable, Inquiry, AR Manager. AR Manager provides the user with a one-stop shop into the Accounts Receivable Inquiry system from the convenience of a single window. The AR Manager centralizes information which the credit manager needs to effectively supervise customers for which they have the responsibility. Functionality available in this AR Manager is based on user defaults that were established in the cross-application user default interface via the AR Manager task button. Based on authority, this dynamic function provides the ability to view the accounts receivable inquiry, detail sales inquiry, and customer maintenance inquiry. It also provides the ability to perform customer maintenance, view aging, release and cancel orders placed on hold, and access order entry. Entering selection criteria in the entry fields on AR Manager assists in limiting the information displayed. Information at the bottom of this window changes based on that functionality. Next, we will look at the folder tabs within the AR Manager. Customer Display Folder tab displays the customer number, customer name, city, state, postal code, country, phone number, credit manager, salesman 1 and 2 codes, open AR balances, and status. Users have the ability to drill down into customer inquiry, detail sales inquiry, credit inquiry, customer maintenance, as well as toggle between customers with and without balances, and customer master inquiry using the buttons in the middle of the screen. Users also have the ability to create to-do, which can trigger other users to call or take action with a customer. Next, we will look at the Aging Folder tab. Clicking on the Aging folder tab displays the aging window and provides balances for all customers based on the selection criteria entered at the top portion of the window. The aging window will give the manager an aged listing of all open accounts receivable. Buckets are aged based on selections and settings in the accounts receivable interface. This can be either due date or invoice date. Selecting the pie chart at the top of the screen allows users to display a graph with aging information for the selected customers. Clicking on or hovering over the graph will display information pertaining to that part of the graph. Next, we will look at the Held Orders folder tab. The Held Orders folder tab window displays all open orders currently on hold for each of the customers displayed. Only orders that are attached to a reason code with prevent, release, and order entry will display. Users with authority can release and/or cancel orders on hold. This will display the order number, customer name and customer number, hold reason code and description, order date, required ship date, cancellation date, salesman 1, credit manager, and order total. Next, we will look at how to release and cancel orders. Using the radio buttons to the left side of the screen, users with the proper authority have the ability to release or cancel orders. Options are R for release, C for cancel, or P for release and print. This releases the order for processing, prints the pick ticket, and changes the order print status to P for print tickets picked. Selecting the radio button to release or cancel and hitting the release or cancel buttons in the middle of the screen will release or cancel the order. In this example, we will release the order. Orders now display as released. While in the held order display, users may also drill down into customer AR inquiry, detail sales inquiry, credit inquiry, order entry, customer maintenance, customer master inquiry, display order comments, or drill into service held orders. Next, we will look at the to-do folder tab. The to-do display will provide a list of all activities that were entered by the Create Follow-Up Task button, as well as the follow-up entries created throughout the system using the follow-up task button. The to-do window will display a list of follow-up entries for each customer displayed, the date and time of the day that the follow-up entry was created, the credit manager code, customer name, contact's name and phone number, follow-up reason code, and the subject of the activity. In addition, calls that were completed via the Close Call task button on the Call Update window will display the text Call Completed. Calls that are canceled via the Cancel Call task button on the Call Update window will display as Call Canceled. So now we have covered AP and AR manager inquiries, and now I'd like to cover a new feature within the food package, which is Positive Pay. Positive Pay is an automated process that helps banks detect fraud by matching the company's issued checks with the check presented for payment. The dollar amount, check number, and account number all must match, or the check is flagged for fraud and sent back to the issuer for a review. This is the process S2K uses to generate the file for upload to the bank. This file directly interfaces with JP Morgan Chase's Positive Pay process. Setup required is in File Maintenance Bank. Processing is completed using Accounts Payable, Daily Transaction Processing, Positive Pay processing. So our initial setup is in Accounts Payable, File Maintenance Bank. Select the bank where Positive Pay process will be implemented. Once the bank is selected, locate the Use Positive Pay flag. This flag instructs the system that this bank will be using the positive pay process when checks are issued from this bank and to create the positive pay file. Once checks have been issued through either the manual or automatic check process in S2K, the user can process checks for positive pay using daily transaction processing, payment processing, positive pay processing. Select the company and bank associated within positive pay batch maintenance and select new batch. Give the batch a description and hit enter or the forward arrow. Once in the new batch, all records that have not been sent to the IFS folder will be highlighted with a batch total at the bottom. Filters for type of issued, void, canceled, or both are on the top left-hand side of the corner of the screen. Users have the option to select or deselect all records, or the option to select individual records or deselect individual records by highlighting the line and hitting the select or deselect buttons. This updates the selected check amount at the bottom of the screen. Users can also filter for a specific vendor, check amount, or date, and select individual records using the options in the upper right-hand side of the screen. This adds the record to any previously selected records within the batch. Unfiltering will show all selected and unselected records for the batch. Users can also drill into each record to display additional information by double-clicking on the record. Once all records have been selected for the batch, select the End Batch button. Hitting the forward arrow creates the batch. The upper right-hand corner has been updated to show the total outstanding checks that have not been included in a positive pay batch. In positive pay batch maintenance, selecting the additional button will display the number and dollar amount of checks in each batch, the user who created the batch, as well as the batch status. Highlighting the batch and selecting Send to IFS and hitting the forward arrow will generate a CSV file and to send to the bank. This will output the file to a CSV, which will look something similar to this, and the output will be ready to be sent to upload to the bank. The batch will now show that it has been sent to the IFS. I will now hand off to Joe, who will discuss credit card processing options within S2K.
Thank you, Leanne. One of the things I will mention about the positive pay is that it's available in food, but I know they're going to be moving it into hard goods as well. And I have talked to the R&D team, and they said it would be available to be even retrofitted onto an older release or your current release that you're running. So if you have interest in positive pay, definitely talk to your project director about it. The last few things that I want to cover in this webinar are a couple of new features, flagging an AP invoice to be paid that was paid by a credit card. This was a new feature that was added, I think, in release 6.1. And basically what it allows you to do is go into your open payables and flag any open invoices that are going to be paid by a credit card. You can also publish bills that are not in open payables, and I'll show you both. Okay, so off of the accounts payable menu under daily transactions, payment processing, you'll go down to credit card payments, and you can see there's a bunch of options there. Once you select the choose credit card invoices, you'll create a batch, which will basically set your posting period. And then on this screen, you'll be able to enter in the vendor, the credit card that you're going to be paying off the invoices with, and the posting date. The vendor must have a flag set in the vendor master file that says allow credit card payments in order to be selected in this window. Okay, so once you put the vendor in and then you hit enter, the system will bring up all of the vouchers from that vendor, and basically you can then click them off and say, this is going to be paid by credit card. This one will be paid by credit card. You can see here, just like our normal selection, you can force discounts, you can partial pay, whatever you'd like to do in this window. Okay. So once you've gone through all your different vendors, right, and you've selected all the different invoices that are going to be paid by credit card, basically the transactions are then removed from open payables, and it will show in history that it was paid by credit card. So if you look at that invoice, it'll say paid by credit card, and then the payable transaction is transferred to a liability general ledger number until you get the credit card statement. Okay. If for whatever reason you wanted to post a bill that was not in the open payables, there is an option on the menu to post transactions that are not in open payables. And you can see it looks like voucher entry, where you'll fill out all the normal fields that you would for voucher entry, but you'll flag it on the lower right-hand corner there with the credit card field that it's going to be paid by a credit card. Okay, and that will also add it to your GL account. Okay, so once the bill comes in, so now the Visa bill has arrived and I am on the distribute button, you can see I would basically offset the Visa liabilities, and then I have a button on the top that says show me all of the account, invoices that were prepaid by Visa that I flagged as prepaid. And when you hit that, it'll bring up those vouchers and the amounts. And from here, basically, you can check off which of the vouchers are being reconciled here at this for this credit card statement. All right, so it might be just one of them here. And by the way, if you want to add more charges that were not prepaid, you can also do that on the detailed line entry as well. Okay, so that's one feature that's available. And obviously, if you want more information on that, we're happy to deep dive into that process with you at any time. Another feature that was added at the same time in, I think, 6.1 as well, was the AP to AR transfer. And I just want to show you this. Basically, there's a menu option that says transfer AP to AR. And once you choose your vendor, it'll come to this screen. And basically from here, you can then choose the invoice numbers that you want to transfer over to an AR balance, right? So sometimes you have a vendor that's also a customer, right? So the vendor owes you money, but you owe the vendor money, but he also owes you money in AR. So you might want to take some of the vouchers and move them over. Right, so you can do that here. You basically just click off the ones that you want to transfer. You click on transfer to AR, which will basically bring up a cash receipt screen. And from here, you can either select invoices to be paid, right? So if you have invoices that you want to pay, you can pay. Or if you just click the transfer from AP button, it'll create an overpayment on account that you can later distribute to invoices as you see fit. Okay, if you did select some invoices and you had a balance left over, it'll automatically put the balance on to an overpayment. Okay, so that's how you transfer, and that's a nice feature from AP to AR. Okay, and you end it and you're done. All right, so the last thing I wanted to cover was credit card processing in AR. Now, some of you probably know that over in order entry, you can process a credit card. So if you're taking an order and you want to process the credit card, you can do this right at the end of order entry. You have to turn on a flag in cross-app user interfaces that this user is allowed to accept payments. And when you do, you are allowed to put in your credit card information. You obviously need a credit card payment gateway. We recommend Verifone's, but we've worked with others. And by putting in the information on the bottom, the system will automatically authorize the credit card just like you would a point of sale transaction, and that will show as a deposit on the order. It is also can be used to pay for the order in full. And where we see this being used is, again, sometimes customers might be over their credit limit, but they really want a shipment to go out the door. So you can use credit card payment here to, process a credit card and post it through as a paid invoice, right? So it'll bypass the credit checking. Okay. The other place we have credit card processing is over in cash receipts. All right. So when you're in cash receipts, I see a lot of customers using this, and it's a great feature. What you do here is you put in your customer number or parent billing number, and then you hit the credit card button. And basically here you could say, how much do you want to put on the credit card? So you'll put in the amount and all the credit card information, and it will again go out through the payment gateway, do an authorization, and hypothetically say, okay, now you have $1,000 that you can apply to this customer, to pay invoices. Okay, so credit card processing here is also very, very nice, and a lot of customers use it. The last place that credit card processing is really nice is on the S2K eBusiness customer self-service portal. Now, for those of you who didn't attend our conference back in October, one of the nice things that we've done with the customer self-service portal is we've made it a standalone program. So what does that mean? Well, that means that off of your website, whether or not you're selling products or not, right? So you don't have to have the full e-commerce suite, or you might have a third-party e-commerce, right? So some customers of ours run Magento or Shopify, right? So it doesn't matter if it's our e-commerce suite or not, but what you can do is add a login option to your current website or to your e-commerce website. And when the customer signs on, okay, and you have two different options. You have with or without registration. This is with registration. Okay, when the customer signs on, the My Account menu can show up, and you can see all the different things that your customers can do here. And this application basically will sit kind of on top of your website, right? So maybe you don't want customers buying stuff, but you want them to be able to track their orders or look at their AR or a bunch of different capabilities from here. And these options obviously can be customized or turned off if you don't want to offer these capabilities. But the one thing here that I want to show you is the pay invoices on the bottom left. Okay, so the pay invoice function is a real great option for your customers to come in here, select the invoices that they want to pay. So you can see here when they click on the invoices, it gives them a total of how much they're going to pay. They would then hit the continue button, all right, and it would basically take them to a checkout screen to say, okay, these are the invoices that you're going to pay. Here's the total. And the user has an option on the bottom to pay with a credit card. We've also set up for specific customers an ACH option. So if you want to have your customers pay with ACH, takes a little setup as we have to know what bank you're working with and whatnot, but it's totally doable. We've done it for quite a few customers where on the checkout, one of the options would be ACH, and they put in their account and routing information, and they'd be able to pay their bills right from the customer self-service portal. And this is a great way to really allow your customers to service their own accounts and pay online. Now, I get asked a lot, is there a way to add like a convenience fee? And there's absolutely, we have done that as well, where we have, if they're paying this way, we can add a 3%, convenience fee or whatever percentage you want. And that'll total into the AR. We have that convenience fee hit a specific GL number during posting. Okay, so that's also available as well. But that's the make a payment button. You can see it's a real nice option. One of the other options is the dashboard option. If you just want to give your customers some information about their account, how much they're spending with you, status of open orders, that's another nice feature in the customer self-service window.